In today's video, we're going to continue from where we left off in the Shivering Isles DLC of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. So far, we've entered into the realm of the Shivering Isles, we made it past the Gatekeeper and the Gates of Madness, and we've met the unpredictable Daedric Prince, Sheogorath. He's given us tasks like reviving an old ruin called Zidillion, used for torturing adventurers, twisting their minds, and turning them into proper citizens of the Shivering Isles. We've also done tasks like get to know the Duchess of Dementia and help her unfold a conspiracy against her. Now it's time to meet the Duke of Mania and become acquainted with him. We begin by entering into the House of Mania in New Sheogorath Palace. The Duke isn't in his court, so we follow our quest marker which leads us into the Halcyon Conservatory. Here, we see a beautiful, bright, and vibrant garden. Just at the edge of it is a wood elf wearing a unique headpiece. This is the Duke of Mania named Théoden, and we speak with him.
Ah, yes, there you are. You couldn't imagine how long I've been waiting for you. So little to do and so much time. Could you, in fact, imagine just how long I've been waiting? I don't think you could, but I might be wrong. I might also not care. Which is it? Don't I? I thought I did. But then I also thought that you would be heavier. Look at you. You're light as a chair. How do you walk around like that? It's all the same to me, either way. All of it. Nothing is right without the chalice. Have you ever used it? No, of course not. You simply must. You just have to try it. It'll change your world, expand your horizons. Contracting leads to expanding, you know. Well, most of the time. Oh, so you've heard of it. You haven't heard of it, yet you know its name? What a strange creature you are. One of my favorite toys. Does wonders for creativity. Well, not by itself, but it helps. Those elytra, clever little bugs that they are. Is this making sense? Look, you eat the Feldew, then use the chalice, and find the world a much brighter and happier place. Honest. But I don't have it. So I can't eat Feldew, because that would just be bad. I mean, really bad. Damn her. We hold on to fleeting things, even as we slip. I knew, and yet I indulged myself anyway. I indulged her a fair bit, too. It was passion. It was forbidden. Oh, the things that would be said if word got out. That made it all the more delicious. From Dementia's own court, no less. Scandalous. Fatal, perhaps. But passion makes no accommodation for self-preservation. Well, aren't you the clever one? Mind you don't get too full of yourself. You might explode. Opposites repel, strangely enough. All that pleasure and pain locked away now, as if it never happened. Unfortunately, the chalice is locked away as well. I have no wish to retrieve it myself, but fetching it might do you some good. My head is positively throbbing now. Can you see it? I need to lie down. Find someone to tell you the rest of the story. Get the chalice.
Théoden has asked us to find the Chalice of Reversal. We must seek out someone in one of the courts and inquire about it. We see a well-dressed Argonian in the conservatory and speak with her.
You've been speaking to Théoden, I can tell. He has a certain effect on people. Did he mention me, perhaps? Or was there something else you wanted to discuss? I don't ask too many questions of Thaden. It's precious to him, and that's all that matters. It's his own business. But didn't he mention where it is? Oh, I see. How brilliant of him. This is for you as much as it is for him. Oh, very good, Thaden. Dunroot Burrow is your goal, my friend. And what a goal it is. You don't understand. This isn't just about the chalice. This is about you. We must discuss Dunroot Burrow. Yes, a most unique place. Of course the chalice would be there. Don't you see? It's the elytra. They're the reason. The chalice, Feldu, elytra, it's all connected. One without the others is no good. Poison. Oh, a rough road awaits you. Some elytra there are different. You'll need to get Feldu from them and eat it. Can't get in without it. But once you do, he wants you to learn for yourself. Learn, grow, experience. It's his way. I shouldn't say more. But the burrow, it's northeast of New Sheogorath. Oh, it wouldn't do to speak of it. Thaden's plan for you, I mean. I like you, little one, but I would never interfere with what Thaden wants. The chalice is in Dunroot Burrow. Haven't you been listening? Go there. Take the Feldu from the elytra. Eat it, and your journey begins. You will be thankful to Thaden when this has passed.
Thanks to Wide-Eye, we now have an idea of where we need to go and what we need to do. Dunroot Burrow has some elytra in its area, and some even contain a substance called Feldu, which we need to ingest in order to gain entrance into the burrow. Since Dunroot Burrow is northwest of New Sheogorath, we decide to finally wander through the city gates of Bliss that connect to Crucible. Bliss is the complete opposite, which was expected. It's bright, vibrant, colorful, and far more joyful than Crucible. Honestly, the contrast just sort of makes you feel happier wandering through it. We'll definitely have to explore it more later, but for now, we're just passing through to get to our location. Exiting the city limits, we're now on the Bliss side of the Shivering Isles, and it's so much closer to how it feels back in Tamriel. The nature, the landscapes, the water, everything reminds us of our life back home. We walk along the designated pathway for some time before diverting off of the road to cut down some travel time. Eventually, we come across a doorway that's sealed by a key. It's labeled Dunroot Burrow, so it must be where we exit from. Wandering up the hill behind it, we zone in closer on our compass arrow. It's clearly pointing towards a massive tree on the hill, and surrounding it are a bunch of elytra. This time, the creatures have different titles other than Elytra Drone. We have an Elytra Soldier, which hits harder and has more health, as well as an Elytra Hatchling, which is the complete opposite, minimal health and minimal damage. The hatchling is glowing green, and after it's been killed, we notice that it has Feldu in its inventory, which we take. We finally find the entrance to Dunroot Burrow. We open our inventory and consume the Feldu. A new active effect is added called Feldu Euphoria, and the quest updates telling us to be careful as we tread through this next part. Dunroot Burrow contains 5 zones that we need to get through. Normally this wouldn't be a problem as we could take our time, go slow, and force waits for health regen if we need to. Except for the fact that if we don't ingest more Feldu every 45 seconds, we fall into a worsened state of withdrawal which will leave us severely nerfed and will even affect our overall health. So how we get more Feldu is by stumbling upon a glowing green elytra, kill it, and ingest the drug. The issue is that these glowing elytra are farther and fewer in between to come across. They're scattered throughout the dungeon, and as we get further along in the zones, they become harder and harder to find. The first zone contains 5 Feldu elytra, so getting our next fix is relatively easy. However, the next 3 zones only contain 2 Feldu elytra each, so as we're stumbling around the mazes of Dunroot Burrow, it became more and more difficult to seek them out. We were faced with the choice of actively looking for the glowing bugs, wasting time, and not knowing where we would find them, Or we could just plow through the rest of the dungeon with Dawnfang, overcoming our disabilities and getting to the end of this nightmarish trip. Choosing the latter, we finally came across an Elytra noble, which was a good sign because we knew that this chapter was soon coming to an end. It was significantly bigger than the other Elytra in this dungeon and put up an incredibly good fight. It almost had us beat, but we persevered, swinging away our enchanted blade and bested it in combat. After killing the creature, we rounded the corner and found ourselves in the last zone, the Sanctum of Decadence. Entering through the doors, we come out to a change of scenery. We're now in some kind of underground fort or cathedral. The chalice is nearby, but guarding it are three strange persons with no clothes on, seemingly extremely addicted to the Feldu. We wander up the stairs and one of them sees us. He aggroes onto us and begins attacking. His name is Juffy the Brown and he fights us unarmed. Juffy certainly has the potential to deal a lot of damage to us, but his health doesn't match his combat skills and soon enough he falls to our blade. Where the fight got interestingly tricky is when we fought the other two Feldu addicts. For some odd reason, they had an incredible amount of health. I have no idea if it was because our weapon lost its charge and maybe its condition wasn't the best, maybe our fatigue was just too low. I have no clue. Regardless, it took a really long time and a lot of swinging to kill them. We fought against both of the addicts separately, as the nice part was that they dealt barely any damage to us. They were able to stagger us with their blocks and hits, but it wasn't at all impactful. I think we would have had a lot more trouble if they ganged up on us, and we're really lucky that we aggroed them one at a time. Eventually, both Feldu addicts were slain, and we made our way to the middle of the elevated area where the chalice was on a pedestal. We took it, and our addiction to the Feldu was cured and forever gone. Our quest updated saying we should leave Dunroot Burrow at once and return the chalice back to Thedan. Leaving Dunroot Burrow, we noticed that the obelisk just outside of it is no longer dormant. There's a beam of energy being emitted from its center, and a strange-looking individual is staring us down. As we get closer, they become aggro and begin shooting lightning at us. This being is called a Priest of Order, and interestingly is a real person, unlike the Knights of Order. Once they've been defeated, we're unable to loot their body as we take shock damage when we try. More members of the Order show up, including 2 knights and another priest. After we take care of all of them, we fast travel to New Sheogorath Palace, seek out an audience with Thedan, and speak with him in order to hand over the chalice.
The triumphant champion returns. So, do you feel any different now that you've been through this experience, I mean? You know what it's like now, always wanting that next fix, hating it but craving it at the same time, and hating yourself for all of it. Ah, well, all over now. The chalice helps, doesn't it? Indeed it does, and I could use some helping right now. I'll just take that back from you. And as a token of my gratitude, I grant you the role of Courtier of Mania, with all of its entitlements. Which is to say, none.
And with that, thus ends the quest, Addiction. Now that we've been made courtiers by both the Duchess and the Duke, we can head back to Sheogorath and tell him we've completed our task.
It's a pleasure. Well, well, you've experienced both shades of madness. Wonderful! You seem fulfilled. Full of fill. Bursting at the seams. Seamless. Now, to the meat of your endeavor. The crux of the situation, the reason for your being here, and the likely cause of your death. You'll be stopping the Grey March, altering the course of events, breaking the cycle. A fly in the ointment, a new cause for a different effect. We're going to change things. No, things will be different this time around. You'll be my champion. You'll grow powerful. You'll grow to be me, Prince of Madness, a new Sheogorath. Or you'll die trying. I love that about you. A fair question. You won't really. At least I don't think so, but you'll have power. My power. Try not to lose it. It's a pain to replace. But for all intents and purposes, you'll be me. A me to fight the him, since I won't be around. It's simple, really, if you don't think about it. Because you seem a nice enough sort, and you've made it this far. And if you don't, I'll swallow your soul and vomit it into the ever-filling chamber pot of the ageless. But mostly because I asked nicely. Well, not here. Didn't I say that? I'm never here when Jiggalag walks. It's one of the rules. I've told you too much for now. Listen to me. Prattle on. I can see your mortal brain straining. We'll talk more later. Now, you've seen the great torch that burns brightly over New Sheogorath. No, because it doesn't. It should, but it doesn't. You'll fix that. You'll go to Cylarne and bring back the flame of Agnon to relight the torch. Oh, and take care with my minions at Cylarne. In their eternal quest to please me, they're constantly fighting over Cylarne. It can be tiresome, but really, it's divine. Divinely tiresome. Well, that's your problem now. Off with you. I don't want to see you again until the great torch is lit. I wouldn't want to have to hurt you much. Oh, don't forget to make use of dear Haskell. Between you and me, if he's not summoned 3 or 4 times a day, I don't think he feels appreciated. That's where you're going to get the flame of Agnon. Do you listen to anything I say? Do your ears work? If not, I can find use for them. Go and fetch the flame. Bring it to the Cecellum. Light the great torch. How are you going to be me if you can't even do what me tells you? It's what's used to light the great torch. Haven't we covered this? You'll find it in Cylarne, guarded by my saints and seducers. The great torch shines brightly above New Sheogorath, a beacon of hope for all the citizens. Except it doesn't! It's gone out! Happens every time the Grey March begins, which it has. Makes all of my subjects uneasy, tense, homicidal, some of them at least. We need to get that torch relit before the place falls apart. Aren't you the curious one? You know what they say about curiosity, though, don't you? It killed the intrepid adventurer who really should just be doing exactly what I say at all times! You're going to stop the Grey March by becoming me. Or a version of me. You'll be powerful. Powerful enough to stop Jiggalag. He's on his way. So I'm on my way out. It's terribly inconvenient, don't you think? You're going to stop him, though. And the first thing to do is to make my people feel safe. Otherwise, they tend to go work for him. It's annoying, to tell the truth. A bit hurtful. But they do it every time. Join up with the enemy and become priests of order. They're the worst of all. My own subjects, working for the enemy. It's enough to make an old Daedric prince get all weepy. It doesn't help that they're the ones who make the obelisks work. A little chanting, a little ritual, and poof, Knights of Order. Bad news. Kill them when you see them, but don't touch the corpse until they're really dead, which they aren't until you deactivate the obelisk. They're getting more active every day. not a good sign. You know what would be a good sign? Free sweet rolls! Ho, ho, ho! Who wouldn't like that? Shut them down where you can, and make sure to kill the priest you see around them. If you don't, they can reactivate the obelisk.
After exhausting our dialogue with Sheogorath, it's time to proceed with our next quest. We're to head to Cylarne and rekindle the flame of Agnon. Apparently, the Golden Saints and the Dark Seducers are in a bit of a turf war over there, so how this job gets done will be interesting. Exiting the palace, and after resupplying in Bliss, we open our map to see where we need to go. Cylarne is at the most northwest spot on the map, and our closest known location is actually Dunroot Burrow. We fast travel there and begin our journey to the war zone. It's a far trek, and we come across many different enemies on our way to the destination. We see more gnarls, bollywogs, and even come across some camps that have new enemies called heretic soldiers. Once we've slashed our way through almost all of Bliss, we finally arrive at the walls of Cylarne. Interestingly, it's a lot wider than it is tall, which is unique because most forts we see have a lot of height to them, but not a lot of width. Eventually, we run around the corner into the courtyard of Cylarne and notice the air is very still, yet heavy. On the left side are the Dark Seducers, and the right side holds the Golden Saints. We get a quest update saying we should speak with someone on how to light the flame of Agnon. We turn to the Golden Saints and speak with the gatekeeper.
Halt! Mortals are not permitted within the walls of Holy Cylarne. My pardon, Lord. Receive this key, and with it free passage throughout the shrine of the Flame of Agnon. Alas, we cannot light the flame until we take control of the Altar of Despair from the infernal Maskin. The Armazel Khana would wish to speak to you at once. Proceed through this door to our main encampment at the Altar of Rapture.
Chuna lets us through the gate, and we venture in over to a group of Golden Saints. Among them, two of them are having an argument, and we listen in.
There's no signs of the Maskin in the Underdeep. It's our best chance to take them unawares.
Too risky. It's likely to be a trap. They could cut us to pieces down there if they knew we were coming.
With all due respect, Armas, I ask that you reconsider. The main passage is strongly defended. Perhaps if you'd allow me to scout further.
Enough! I've made my decision. We will attack down the main passage as planned. The Maskin will not withstand us.
Once the discussion is over, we speak with Mirel to get a better idea of what we can do here.
Greetings, stranger. Are you here to help us drive the Maskin out of Cylarne? The flame is only lit at the command of Sheogorath, from the altars of Rapture and Despair, within the shrine itself. I'm sure that Armazel Khana will be glad to help you once the Maskin are driven from the Altar of Despair. Alas, we have not seen the Altar of Despair for many years. It is in the underground part of Cylarne, which is controlled by the Maskin. The Maskin do not even allow us free passage to worship there, which is one of the many reasons why they are unfit to continue to guard it. It is just there, at the top of these steps. You would pray for the blinding ecstasy, which is the ultimate reward for those in Sheogorath's service? She commands the Orioles here at Cylarne. She has just arrived with reinforcements from Relighting to end this stalemate once and for all. That's what we call ourselves, the most loyal and honorable servants of Sheogorath. Our home and sanctuary here in the Shivering Isles. The treacherous ones, the dark seducers of ill repute, whose every action drags Sheogorath's holy name through the mud. My scouts recently discovered another way through the ruins to the Altar of Despair. The Armazel Khana wants to assault the altar down the main passage, but the Maskin are expecting us to come that way. They've strongly fortified the main passage against us. If we attacked through the Underdeep, we could take them by surprise. If only Khana would listen to me. An attack down the main passage will end the same as it always does, a glorious defeat. She thinks the Underdeep is a trap. It's true. If the Maskin knew we were coming that way, we wouldn't stand a chance. But I'm convinced the Mazkin don't expect us to come that way. If we attacked in full force, we could take the Altar of Despair before they had a chance to react. If only I could make Canna see that.
Before we investigate the Underdeep for Miro, we turn to the Dark Seducer side to see what can be offered over there.
What is it, emissary? The counterpart to the Altar of Despair. Rapture is currently held by the Ariels in their complacency, but that will soon change. The holy flame can only be lit from the Altars of Despair and Rapture. Alas, the Ariels hold Rapture for now. You should speak to the Grakedric Ulfri at once. She will be glad of your help to rid Cylarne of the arrogant Ariels once and for all. She is the Grakedric, commander of the Mazkin here at Cylarne. She has never yet been defeated by the Ariels, despite their strength. You know us as Dark Seducers, a name given us by our enemies. But we are the Mazkin in our own tongue, Sheogorath's only truly loyal servants. Our rivals, the so-called Golden Saints. One day Sheogorath will finally recognize their bull-headed stupidity and expel them from the realm.
We open the gate with our key and go through the doors that lead us into the fortress of Cylarne. Walking a bit and rounding our first corner, we're confronted by a Dark Seducer named Stela.
A mortal wandering the halls of holy Cylarne, and a male no less. Explain yourself. Then I am at your service. The Grakedric Ulfri commands here. You will wish to speak to her at once, no doubt. We hold the Altar of Despair, here within the Shrine of the Flame of Agnon. Continue down the corridor if you wish to meditate there upon the fate of all things mortal.
She tells us to speak with someone by the name of the Grakedric Ulfri, who allegedly commands the Dark Seducers here in Cylarne. However, we've made up our minds to help the Golden Saints win this battle, and we press on. We wander through the rest of the fort and our quest updates saying that it's too heavily guarded in its main areas, which is true. Everywhere we look, a guard is posted on the ramparts or patrolling the hallways. Eventually, we find ourselves at the entrance to the Underdeep. Making our way through here, we note that it's a destroyed, flooded, and forgotten underpassage that looks like it'll fall apart any second. However, one thing is for sure, there isn't nearly as many Dark Seducers down here. Eventually, we find our way to the exit where the Golden Saints are held up, and we speak with their leader, or Mazel Canna, to inform her of our findings.
This is no place for a mortal. We are about to join battle against the Mazkin. You'd best stand aside. My pardon, emissary. I am at your service. We are preparing to sweep the Mazkin scum from Cylarne. Perhaps Sheogorath sent you to help us. Only the servants of Sheogorath can light the flame, by kindling the altars of despair and rapture which feed the flame. Alas, we hold only the altar of rapture. The treacherous Mazkin hold the altar of despair. We must control both to light the flame. If you help us seize the altar of despair from the Mazkin, I will be honored to kindle the flame of Agnon for my lord Sheogorath. The flame is fed from the altar of rapture and the altar of despair. Only servants of Sheogorath can kindle the altars. Once we capture the altar of despair from the Mazkin, it will be my great honor to light the flame for Lord Sheogorath. The only way to assault the altar of despair is down the main passage between the two altars. It will be difficult. The Mazkin have fortified their position, but I am confident that with your help, we can defeat them. Will you help us retake the altar of despair and drive the Mazkin out of Cylarne once and for all? Are all males so obstinate? Have I not already told you that I consider that route too risky? What makes you think you can persuade me when my own lieutenant cannot? You've seen this with your own eyes? I must be sure it isn't a trap if I'm to take such a risk. Myrrel was very convincing as well. Very well, we'll risk it. The Underdeep it is. May Sheogorath's divine madness possess us today.
With the end of that brief discussion, the battle for Cylarne begins. The Golden Saints arm themselves and immediately make their way over to the Masken Gatekeeper. In just a few moments, she's completely overwhelmed and slain. The Oriels fall in line and go through the entrance to the Underdeep. Down here, the battle continues with the few Masken that were patrolling getting picked off by the might of the Golden Saints. Soon, a small battalion of Dark Seducers was dispatched over to the area, but they were no match for the group of Oriels. We tried to let the Daedra do all of their own fighting. I wanted to stay impartial in this fight, even though it really didn't matter. Also, the Golden Saints kept getting in the way of my swings and I would accidentally hit them. Eventually, I would need to put up my own fight, but I let them take care of most of it. We soon stumbled upon the supposed leader of the Dark Seducers, Greikdrig Ulfri. Together with the Golden Saints, we slew her in combat and we got a quest update. All that remained was to pick off the last few Masken located in the fortress of Cylarne. One by one, they were dropping like flies until the last one was slain. When that happened, we got a quest update saying we should speak with Canna on how to ignite the altars. We find her and begin talking.
Victory is ours. I have already selected a candidate for the honor of kindling the altar of rapture. I will now claim the honor of victory for myself, here on the altar of despair. The altars can only be kindled by the willing sacrifice of a Masken or an Oriel. It is my great honor to release my soul to Oblivion in service to Lord Sheogorath. Farewell. I will not walk these lands for many a year.
Canna has picked a champion to ignite the altar of rapture, while she insists on igniting the altar of despair through her own personal sacrifice. She makes her way over to the sacred grounds and begins the ritual. With that, both the altars have been lit, which should have rekindled the flame of Agnon. We exit the fort and go back out to the courtyard where we see the colorful fire raging. We walk into the brazier and claim the flame of Agnon. Now, we can fast travel back to New Sheoth. We go back to the City of Bliss and make our way to the Sicelem Arden Sul. We enter inside and are approached by two priests.
You've brought it! The holy flame of Agnon, the fire of inspiration and rapture. If you light the great torch on the Mania side of the Sicelem, you will be a hero to the people of Bliss, I assure you. Do not think about it. Dream about it. Let your mind soar on flights of fancy. I know you will choose well in the end. You should know that in addition to the adulation of the people of Bliss, there is also a more earthly reward. The hero who lights the great torch for Mania is traditionally awarded the raiment of Arden Sul. Not that this should influence your choice at all. Now, what do you say?
You burn with the purging fire of Agnon, the flame of truth, the flickering beacon of hope in the gloom of despond. Come, light the great torch for Dementia. Illuminate the conspiracies, deepen the shadows. The people of Crucible await their hero. Oh no! You don't want to do that. Don't believe their lies. They are no true friends. Don't you see it? How they whisper behind your back. No, light the torch for Dementia, and you'll see how we treat our friends. Dementia takes care of its own. Few know that the hero who lights the torch for Dementia is granted the Ring of Intrigue, a boon for those who would gain access to hidden knowledge. Surely you will do what is right, won't you? Yes, let your mind worry at the problem. Let fear and dismay over making the wrong choice sink their talons deep into your brain.
I knew I saw the glint of true mania in your eyes, my child. Go now, and let the holy flame inspire the people of Bliss to new heights of madness.
My logic for deciding to go with lighting the flame for Mania was that we helped the Golden Saints take over Cylarne, so their half of the city should receive the flame. We walk up to the brazier and step inside, igniting the great torch over New Sheogorath. We speak again with Dervenin to receive our reward.
The great torch shines with the pure light of Mania. You chose well. In accordance with the ancient tradition, receive now the raiment of Arden Sul in honor of your mighty deed in service to Mania. Tread the humble path.
I'm disappointed in your choice. You'll find Mania to be a fickle friend.
We now go ahead and speak with Sheogorath about our great deed.
Aren't you off to a good start? That's important. For me. Really, your work is going to save me a lot of time. The Grey March is upon us, and the ordering begins. Armies of order, sweep my realm! Death! Destruction! Then I have to pick up the pieces. And there are always lots of pieces. I don't like it, having to rebuild my realm every era. Sometimes I forget where things go, like New Sheogorath. I can never remember where it belongs. You'll change that. Break the cycle. You'll stop Jigalag, and I'll have my realm to come back to. I've never actually tried that before. Why not? Something has to work. Once I dug a pit and filled it with clouds. Or was it clowns? It doesn't matter. It didn't slow them down. To be honest, it wasn't the best idea. And it really began to smell. Must have been clowns. Clouds don't smell bad. They taste of butter. And tears. But this is all new. A fresh idea. Something I hadn't thought of. Until I did. It's sure to work, even though it might not. Now, you'll need the respect of my citizens. They'll need a leader, someone to look up to when I'm gone. They're the backbone of any great land. Except where the backbone is an actual backbone. Ever been to Malakoth's realm? Oh, nasty stuff. But back to the business at hand. You'll need to control one of the carts of madness. Replace a current duke, or duchess, whichever. That will command respect. The people will rally around you. You'll have their love, their admiration, their complaints, whatever, as long as it keeps them on our side. No. No. Absolutely not. Well, yes, absolutely. Bit of a shame for them. But sometimes you need to break a few eggs. Or skulls. There are rules, though, even in the Isles. Rituals and rules. You need to follow them. Speak to Artis and Dervenin, the High Priest at the Seselum Arden Sul. They can explain what needs to be done. And you've always got our man Haskell to call on for help. Faithful, like a good hound, that one. And he looks better in a suit. It's already started, but you might be able to stop it. We're making you into a leader the people can trust. Someone to look up to. Someone to blame. Once I'm gone, things usually get bad quickly. Lots of defections, lots of carnage, but with you at the helm, things will be different. This time, I'll beat him. I can't stand losing, and I don't mind cheating.
And with that, thus ends the quest, the Cold Flame of Agnon. Before we even had the time to do anything else, Sheogorath gave us our next quest, which is quite the task. We're to replace either the Duchess of Dementia or the Duke of Mania. We go over to Arctis and ask about the ritual of accession for Dementia.
I'm disappointed in your choice. You'll find Mania to be a fickle friend. Interesting. Not many wish to hear about such things, but I would be glad to oblige. Becoming the Duke of Dementia requires passage through the ritual of accession. Specific guidelines set forth by Arden Sul himself. Seldom is the subject ever Wait a moment. Did you want to hear the history of the ritual? As it happened so many years ago, my lord Arden Sul suspected a traitor in his midst. Not wishing to find himself on the wrong end of a blade, he gathered his flock here in the Sacellum. By poisoning the sacramental wine, Arden Sul was able to suppress any such conspiracy in one fell swoop. Yes, he then removed their hearts from their bodies and used his ancient scrying technique known as visceromancy to read their lifeblood. When Arden Sul couldn't divine the traitors' true nature in their hearts, he became distraught and took his own life in the same way. From that day on, the ritual of accession for the throne of Dementia was set. Very well. Spoken like a true son of the Demented. To become the ruler of Dementia, the current leader's heart must be cut out and brought to the altar of Arden Sul in the Sacellum. Once this is done, I can pronounce the heart-bearer a duke or duchess. Then, all that is required is the blessing of our lord, Sheogorath.
We now go over to Dervenin to ask about the ritual of accession for Mania.
What else can I help you with on this glorious day? An important part of our history, my friend. I would be glad to tell the tale if you have a moment. Arden Sul was perhaps the greatest duke to walk our land. Many years ago, he decided to hold a night of absolute indulgence, resplendent with dance, wine, and sex, to celebrate his fondness for his brethren. The green moat flowed like water in a stream as the revelers voraciously succumbed to its rapturous ways. But it was, as the bacchanal reached a crescendo, the people began to clutch their chests as their very hearts exploded. The green moat had taken its toll. The ground stained a deep crimson as the sanguine liquid flowed from their lifeless bodies. To represent that night, when the ruler of Mania is to be replaced, he partakes of the green moat and allows his lifeblood to flow upon the altar. Certainly, when the ruler of Mania has decided it is time, he will choose a successor from his court. The successor is invited to a huge celebration, a night of hedonistic revelry, wine, song, and of course, green moat. During this, the exiting regent imbibes 3 doses of the potent drug. This causes his heart to burst, and his lifeblood flows from his body. The successor then gathers the drug-tainted blood and brings it to the altar of Arden Sul in the Sacellum. Once this is done, I will proclaim the successor a duke or duchess. Then Sheogorath gives his blessing, and the cycle is completed.
We can now make an informed decision on which one to do. Honestly, the ritual for dementia seems right up our alley, but the ritual for mania sounds like we'll have more fun. Plus, Théoden didn't give us a tangible reward for handing him over the chalice. We choose to do the ritual of accession for mania and tell Sheogorath.
You're back! How nice for you! Does that mean you've made a decision? Or are you lost? Suicidal? Just let me know. A friendly word of warning before you choose. Once you've decided which duke to replace, there's no turning back. One choice. No more. No less. Try not to do something stupid. So which is it? What will it be? Mania? Dementia? The suspense is killing me! Or you, if I have to keep waiting. A safer choice, perhaps. Maybe you'll live through this. Théoden's a bit lost these days. Not that it's a bad thing, it suits him. Until now. Besides, won't it be a grand surprise when you make his heart burst from too much green moat? Théoden loves surprises. Théoden may be in a constant state of euphoria, but I wouldn't underestimate his intelligence. This is so much fun! It'll be in full swing soon. Excited? You shouldn't be. It's the death of all things. But if we can get you into shape, we might stand a chance. You'll lead my forces, inspire my people. Hopefully, everyone won't end up dead. He'll be here soon, and I'll be gone. Can't say I like the sound of that. I like the sound of other things, though, like birds and bones cracking.
Sheogorath warns us that our choice is locked in, and we're okay with that. We have to now ask around New Sheoth to see what the best way to get Théoden to overdose on Greenmote would be. We think it best to try our good friend, Wide-Eye, who helped us with the quest Addiction. We head over to the House of Mania and wander through its halls. Eventually, we find Wide-Eye and begin speaking with her.
How can I help you this fine day? Such a kind and noble man. In times like these, it's good to have a leader who still enjoys all the modern pleasures Mania has to offer. Well, yes, apart from enjoying his painting, reading a good book, or a rousing night of erotic bedroom games. I'm speaking of Greenmote, of course. There is no greater pleasure. If I didn't have such a busy daily routine, I'd likely indulge myself in its pleasures more often. At the risk of being rude, I must confess I don't like talking about the specifics of my routine. Théoden has too many enemies that may turn that knowledge against him. He depends on me quite dearly.
Wide-Eye needs to be greased up a bit before she tells us her daily routine. We charm her with Beguiling Touch and throw some gold her way. Then we try again.
A little bit helps. Very well. I see little harm in telling you. After a bit of reading in the garden and running my special errand at noon, I like to shop at Books of Bliss. Around 8 p.m. we are served dinner. Gundlar is quite a chef and prepares Théoden's meals personally, adding just a hint of Greenmote. After that, we dance, we sing, or we do whatever else suits my lord's tastes. Greenmote is the refined version of the spores that are harvested from the spore trees that dot Mania. We keep the Greenmote safely tucked inside the Greenmote silo. You can imagine the ruckus if its location was known. Only a select few, such as myself, know the silo's location, However, we are sworn to secrecy. Yes, I must attend to him. Speaking to you has already cost me time. I must go. Again, we cross paths. There isn't enough gold or enough jokes in the world that would convince me to tell you where the green moat is located.
Wide-Eye knows where to find green moat, but she is very insistent on no one else knowing where it's stashed. We begin to follow her around at noon to see what her special errands are. She actually makes her way to the courtyard of New Sheogorath Palace and walks to the northeastern side. Here, we stop to get a good look at what she does. It turns out that obscure statue is actually the secret entrance to the Green Moat silo. We're to head down there, follow her, and make sure we don't get caught. It was at this moment I realized that the main difference between becoming the Duke of Mania or the Duke of Dementia was through the skills required to beat each quest. Overcoming the Duchess was better suited for our heavy-armored, sword-wielding, battle-hardy Nord warrior. Overcoming the Duke was better suited for silent, assassin, rogue, thieving characters. We don't really practice sneaking much with this character, but this could be a very fun time. Green Moat Silo isn't very difficult to navigate through while following Wide-Eye. The issue is not getting caught by the Golden Saints. Once we learned to keep our distance, check our corners, and stay in the shadows, it was a breeze making it to the Green Moat. We pick up 2 doses of the substance, and we receive a quest update saying we now need to sneak into Théoden's kitchen before 8 o'clock and slip the Green Moat into his food. On our way out, we got caught by Wide-Eye at the last moment and just accepted the small bounty of 40 gold. Once we returned back to the palace, we still had time to sneak into Théoden's room and slip in the poison. Picking the lock into the Duke's quarters, we now make our way through the small area. There are a total of 2 Golden Saints patrolling the halls. They have their pathways that they walk, and once we learned what their patrols were, we were able to slip into the kitchen. Whilst here, we put 1 dose of Green Moat into Théoden's wine, and the other went into his meal. Now it's time to make our way back to the Hall of Mania before 8 o'clock. We get caught on the way out and pay up the 5 gold bounty. We run back to the House of Mania, take a seat at the dining table, and wait for the festivities to begin.
Oh my, yes. I feel especially delighted this evening. Perhaps it's time I recited my latest soliloquy. The lady fair, our love is told, with hair as fine as soft spun gold, lips as red as a sun-drenched dawn, skin as soft as a newborn fawn, eyes as blue as a cerulean sea. Ah, what? My heart can't breathe. Help me. Oh!
Théoden overdosed on the Green Moat and his heart exploded. We walk over to his body and take some of his drug-tainted blood. Before leaving, we also take his diadem of euphoria and speak with Gunlar and Wide-Eye to see how they feel.
There's no need to mourn. The ritual has begun. Be happy.
I never suspected it was Théoden's time, but what's done is done. I honor his choice.
Making our way back to the Cecellum Arden Sul, we approach the altar of Arden Sul and place the tainted blood inside.
Once again has the ritual of accession come full circle. The blood of Théden has been consumed by Arden Sul's will, and all of Mania welcomes you with open arms. I now declare you Duke of Mania of the Shivering Isles. May your light shine upon all our happiest days.
We now speak with Sheogorath to receive his blessing in order to fully become the Duke of Mania.
You've done it! The ritual is complete, and you've survived! A shame about Théden, but it's how he would have wanted it to go. Now, on to other...
Wait, I must speak. The ritual must not be completed.
Syl! You dare interrupt me? Only I interrupt me. Like just then. I'm speaking with someone. We'll talk later. Or not. When is later exactly? Not now, I'm sure of that. Guards! I think Syl forgot how to use the door. Kindly show her out, before I forget myself.
Théden? Dead? You've done this. It was you all along.
Hold your tongue, little Duchess, or I'll tear it from your mouth.
Replacing Théden with this outsider? This is how it ends. I should have seen this coming.
Calm yourself, Syl. You're making my teeth itch. You still hold your office. I suggest you see to your duties.
No, I see what's going on. I should have seen it before. You conspire to destroy us all. You're a fool if you think I'll allow this to happen.
Fool? Visionary! Change is in the air, Syl. Breathe it deep. Bathe in its scent. Bottle it up, save some for later.
Order stands at our door. They've taken the fringe. Did you even know? Do you care? And you speak of change.
Change will preserve us. It is the lifeblood of the Isles. It will move mountains. It will mount movements.
No, I can't do this. There has to be a way out. A way to escape.
Then go, Syl. Return to your quarters before I send you back in pieces.
Yes, that's what I'll do. I'll go. The enemy of my enemy orders the key. I'll keep them close.
No! Let her go.
This is not over, Mad God. I give myself to Jiggalag. As a priest of order, I'll be safe. Your empire will crumble before the armies of order.
After an interruption by Syl, she is seemingly defected over to the Order. We speak again with Sheogorath to see where we should go from here.
Wondering why I let her go, aren't you? I can see it in your face. Mostly in the eyes. I may take those from you when this is done. This has never happened before. The ruler of dementia turning traitor? Unprecedented. I've seen others defect, but never a duke. Maybe we're onto something here. We'll see how it plays out. It can't be worse than what's happened before. I do, I did, and I won't say it again. But that's enough about that. You're the ruler of Mania. Oh, just look at you. You're positively beaming. You now have the power to summon golden saints. They've always served the Duke of Mania. I think it's the bright colors. They just love 'em. And here is the Ring of Lordship, a symbol of your new station. Symbols are important. They carry weight in this realm, and others. You would be well served to remember that. She was right about that. I can feel it. In my bones. The little ones. The Grey March has swept the Fringe. Aura gathers its forces there as we speak. And I hate when people gather forces in my Fringe! You'll need to put an end to that. Stop them. My army should already be there, but I want you to see what you can do to help. If they continue to marshal their forces there, we won't be able to contain them. Make sure they can't. It swept the Fringe! That's not good! See if you can't hold them off there, because if you can't, everyone is going to die. No pressure. They'll get more and more active as the Grey March continues. If they've already taken the Fringe, they must have one there already. I really hate those things.
We have now officially been made into the Duke of Mania and can summon Golden Saints at our will, thus ending the quest, Ritual of Mania.